Today we are going to study size of the sales force. Size of the sales force is nothing but calculating how many sales people you require in that particular year. So we have to calculate how many sales people required to meet the company's sales volume and profit objective. So we have to calculate in order to achieve the target of the sales. One particular year, suppose 2021, we have or suppose for 2022, we have particular sales target to achieve. Suppose we have achieved 100 crore sales target this year. So maybe next year we have to achieve 105 crore. So that is sales target we have. So to achieve that sales target, how many number of hours we have to work? So if we calculate number of hours which are required to work for next year, then we can easily calculate how much one person can work. And if we able to calculate how much salesperson can dedicate every day or every year on the selling activities, so immediately we can divide total workload divided by the time available for that particular salespeople during the year. And if we divide total workload by the time available with that particular salesperson to perform the that workload that in particular year, the time available to perform the sales activities for that particular salesperson in that year, and if we take the if we divide it, then we will get the number of salespeople required by that particular organization. So calculating, this first method workload is depending on the number of hours required to serve all the customers in that particular organization for that particular year. So workload method is basically calculating number of hours required to serve all the customer in that particular year. If we come to know that a specific number of hours are required to serve all the customers in that particular year, so if you can easily divide that number by selling time available to one person, and you will get number of sales people. Suppose you think that we require 1000 hours, we require 1000 hours to serve all our customers in the next year, and we have 100 hours with 100 hours for selling activities in next year with one sales person. So 1000 divided by 100, so 10 sales people you will require in the next financial year. That is as easy as that, simple calculation you have to do. So it is very difficult decision. There are a lot of factors which are influencing this decision, that is competition level. If the competition level is more, then you have to increase salespeople. If competition level is less, you can have less salespeople working. The next is demand for the company's product. The demand for the company's product is more, you have to keep less salespeople. If the demand for the company's salespeople is less, then you have to recruit more salespeople. Like Amul is very well-known brand, and it is known everywhere. So you require very less salespeople because it can be sold to each and every retail store. You can sell the Amul milk packet through any shop. So salespeople, you will not require salespeople to sell the popular product or very good brand. But if any brand is unknown, if tomorrow Success Milk Products launch their products, nobody knows Success Milk Products. So you have to first create awareness about that particular brand. You have to do a lot of promotional activities. That's why you require a lot of salespeople. Then third is nature of the customer segment vary in different sales territories. Nature of customer segment vary in different sales territories. So there are different sales territories. In India, not all the geographical areas are same in terms of population, in terms of geography. If you see Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, if you see Northeast region, Himalayan region, it is very difficult to cover. So there you will require a lot of salespeople to travel the distance. But in areas like Pune, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, there are no problem as such while for traveling. So you require less salespeople to travel particular distance. In some areas like rural area, we require more salespeople because we require less salespeople because their population is very less. In cities like Pune, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, we require more salespeople because population is more. Salespeople are productive and expensive asset. We have to use it carefully. You have to make use of optimum number of salespeople we should recruit, because if we recruit less salespeople, then we will lose the sales and revenue and profit. If we recruit more salespeople, then we have to spend more on their salaries. So that is loss for the organization. We have three different types of methods to calculate the workload or size of the salespeople. That So there are three methods of calculating sales force size. So first is workload, in which we calculate total number of hours required to serve the customers in next year. So total number of customers we require, total number of hours we require to serve the customers in next year, divided by time availability with one single salesperson, and that will give you number of salespeople. In second method, we calculate total revenue we have to collect in the next year, and uh, it is divided by the productivity or the potential of one salesperson. The total number of target we have as a revenue or the sales divided by one person's capability or productivity, then it will give you number of salespeople. In incremental sales, we keep on adding salespeople till the time we get uh, profit contribution in positive amount. If our profit contribution is less or it is showing minus, then we stop over there. So this method we have taken from the economics on one particular concept. So basically we are going to study all these concepts in detail. Also we are going to solve the problems on these small problems, examples we will discuss. So first method we will study, workload method. So the workload approach determines how much selling efforts is needed to adequately cover the firm's market. Workload approach determines how much selling effort is needed to adequately cover the firm's market. How much time we have to spend to cover all the customers. That is required in this workload approach. The number of salespeople required to provide this amount of selling effort is calculated. So if we divide the number of availability of time for one person, you will get number of salespeople required. This approach is relatively simple to adapt and is sound conceptually. So the formula is the number of salespeople equal to total selling efforts required divided by average selling effort per salesperson. You have to remember 6 steps. If you remember these 6 steps, then you can easily calculate workload method. In first step, classify present and prospective customers according to their sales potential. Classify present and prospective customers according to their sales potential. Next, decide time required per sales call and desired call frequency for each customer class. Third, calculate the workload for entire market. Fourth, decide the total work time available to one salesperson. Fifth, divide the total time available by different activities per salesperson. Here we have to calculate time required for the selling activities. Then you have to go for the then at the last you can calculate total number of salespeople. So what are these 6 steps? In the first step, you are calculating, you are classifying the customer as per the sales potential. Like some customer may be of high potential, some customer may purchase in large amount, some customer may you purchase your product in small amount. So large value customers, large potential customer and small potential customer, you have to divide. You have to find out the number, how many large customers you have, how many small customers you have. Then you have to find out the time required to deal with particular salesperson in that particular year. So how you will calculate in particular year, how many frequencies you have to visit that particular person, and each visit how much time it is taking by each visit. So you have to find out at the second step. At the first step you have to calculate large how many large potential customer you have, how many small potential customer you have. Addition will give you total number of customers. At the second step you have to calculate time required to serve the customer, at the number 3 you have to calculate total workload for the entire market. So 1 into 2, the total number of customer into time required to serve the customer will give you total workload for the to serve entire market, total workload to serve all the customers, time into number of customers. Then at the number 4 you have to calculate total time available to salesperson. So total time available to salesperson you have to calculate for year. And you have to, at number 5 you have to calculate time required for the selling activity, and at number 6, if you divide 3 by 5, if you divide total workload divided by time required for the selling activity, time available for the selling activity by one salesperson, then you will get total number of salesperson people, that is number 6. So this is very easy process. If you remember all 6 steps, you can easily calculate the number of salespeople required. So at number 1 we have to classify present and prospective customers according to their sales potential. You have to classify customers into large potential customer and small potential customers. At number 2, you have to decide time required per sales call and desired call frequency for each customer call. It will not happen in single call you will solve the problem. You have to visit at least 4 times, 10 times, 15 times, 20 times you have to visit to serve that particular customer. Then only he will give particular amount of sales to you. So you may require 12 visits, but for each visit you may require 30 minutes or 1 hour. So that time you have to calculate. Then at number 3 you have to calculate total workload for the entire customer, total workload for the entire market. So how much time required to serve all the customers? This you will calculate by total number of customers into the time required to serve them, total number of customers into time required to call them. Then at number 4, decide the total work time available to one salesperson. So salesperson may have holidays, salesperson may have non-selling activities, salesperson will spend time on um, um, in traveling, transportation, that you have to reduce, that we have to minus, and you have to calculate time available for selling activities. So divide the total work time available by different salesperson. So in at number 5 you have to minus everything and you just have to keep time available for selling activities. So at number 6, if you calculate total time required to serve all the customer divided by the time available for one salesperson for selling activities, then you will get total number of salespeople. So so this is the procedure we will see in more detail. So what do you mean by classifying present and prospective customers according to their sales potential? So normally we have to understand this, that most of the time you will use this method in B2B sales, industrial product sales, or if there is a selling firm which is selling their products to many organizations, there uh, uh, you will have to use this method. So we were discussing first step, classify present and prospective customers according to their sales potential. So suppose the company estimates 500 numbers of class A, that is large sales potential customers, and 1000 numbers class B, medium sales potential. Customers to be covered by the company sales people in the entire nation. So we have two types of customers. One type of customer who has large potential. Class A customers will give you large sales, large number of sales. So suppose take example of bank. In a bank, few people will deposit crores of rupees, 5 crore rupees, 7 crore rupees. Few people will deposit 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10,000, 20,000. So those who are depositing 5 crore, 6 crore rupees, these are your large sales customers. And those who are depositing small amount, say 50,000, 80,000, 1 lakh rupees, they are your small sales potential customers or the medium sales potential customer. So you will always have less large sales potential customer and more medium sales potential customers. So you have to find out this number, how many large sales potential customers you have and how many small scale or medium scale potential customers you have. Then you have to calculate time required to serve these customers. So for the customers who are giving you large uh, sales, they require to serve more, they will take more time per call. So suppose they are taking 60 minutes per call, and in a year they require 36 visit. So 36 into 60, you require 36 hours per year for that one customers in a large potential customers group. And if we see medium potential customer group, you require 30 minutes to handle one call. So 12 such a calls you require per customers to handle that particular customer from the medium potential customers. So in a year you require 6 hours per customers to you require to give 6 hours per year per customers in from the class B or the medium sales potential customers. At number 3, you have to calculate total workload for your organization. So you have 500 such a customers who require 36 hours per year, and you have 1000 small or medium potential customer who require 6 hours to serve per year. So 36 into 500 it comes 18,000, and 6 into 1000 it comes 6,000. So total you require 24,000 hours to serve all the customers. Then we have to calculate total work time available per salesperson. So salespeople should work 40 hours per week. That is the Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sorry. I log into wrong class. Sorry. Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. My voice is clear? Okay. Today we are going to study Salesforce size, some of the methods of the Salesforce size, how to calculate number of salespeople required. Is a Okay, today we are going to study Salesforce size, how to calculate how many number of salespeople required in that particular salespeople you are required in your organization, people you require. If a particular firm is new, they might require how many salespeople we should keep, so that we should not spend more on this Salesforce. So some of the methods they can use. So we have to calculate how many salespeople required to meet company's sales volume and profit objective. So as salespeople are very important to generate revenue, to generate sales. So we should also know how many salespeople we should keep in our organization. It is very difficult decision and there are so many factors which are influencing this decision. The decision how many salespeople we should hire is very difficult decision and so many factors required to take this decision. So many factors influence to take this decision. Uh, Example, competition level. If the competition level is higher, if the competition is more, then you have to keep more salespeople, and if competition is less, then you have to keep less salespeople. Directly proportional. Second, demand of the company's products and service. Demand of the company's product is more, then you will have to keep less salespeople. Example, Amul. Amul product can be sold through any shop, any retail outlet. He will keep Amul's dairy products. So no need to keep more salespeople. Only distribute the product to all the shops. So if the demand of the product is more, you have to keep less salespeople, and if the demand of the company's product is less, you have to keep more salespeople. Inversely proportional. So suppose there is a one particular organization like Countryside Farm or suppose Milky Mist. These people they are also selling uh, dairy products. They are new in the market, nobody knows them, so they have to keep more salespeople because they have to create brand awareness. They have to visit the retailers, wholesalers. They have to convince that keep our product. They have to do some promotional activities. All this they have to establish distribution network. So the product is more popular, you have to keep less salespeople. If the product is less popular, you have to keep more salespeople to increase, basically to increase brand awareness. Popular brands don't require to do lot of advertisement. Popular brands won't require lot of efforts, like you don't take lot of efforts to sell Adidas, Puma, Nike brands. And if it is unknown brand from local brand, you will have to do lot of selling activities. Then third is nature of customer segment vary in different sales territories. So all the sales territories are not same. Some are rural, some are urban. In rural area, population is less, so you have to keep less salespeople. But in urban area, population is more in a particular area, so you have to keep more salespeople. Also, some of the geographies are very difficult to travel, like northeast area, Himalayan areas, mountain areas. There you have to keep more salespeople. But some of the areas like Pune, Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata, they are not having lot of mountains. So and infrastructure is very good. So you can keep less number of people if you are considering travel time. So a lot of factors influence number of salespeople. Salespeople are productive and expensive asset. Salespeople are very productive and expensive asset of the organization. So it is very important decision how many salespeople you should keep. Because if you keep less salespeople, you will not get more sales. If you are keeping less salespeople, you will get less sales, and you will your competitors will get more sales. And if you are keeping more sales people than required, then you will spending more on their salaries, more on their expenditure, more on their incentive, bonus, everything. So optimum number of sales people you should keep. And how to calculate that optimum number of sales people or the correct number of sales people? We have three methods. We have workload method, we have sales potential method, we have incremental method. In workload method, we calculate number of hours required to serve all the customers. Workload method is based on calculating number of hours required to serve customers. Sales potential method is based on calculating number of companies revenue in terms of rupees. In terms of rupees or in terms of dollars, you have to calculate sales potential. And in incremental method, you have to keep on adding one more sales people, and you have to check the profit contribution. When profit contribution goes in minus, whenever we started incurring losses, there you have to stop. So we have three methods to calculate optimum number of sales force or sales people. So method number one, workload method, we are going to study. Workload method or workload approach determines how much selling effort is needed to adequately cover the firm's market. The workload approach determines how much selling effort is needed to adequately cover the firm's market. That means how much hours are required to serve all the customers we have. How much number of hours we require to serve all the customers in 2022. Okay, the number of salespeople required to provide this amount of selling effort is calculated. If we divide number of total hours required to serve all the customers divided by uh, time available for one salespeople, then we can easily calculate number of salespeople. This approach is relatively simple to develop and is sound conceptually. So the formula for this method is number of salespeople is equal to total selling efforts needed. Total selling efforts needed to serve all the customers divided by average selling effort per salesperson. We are going to see the process. We are going to see some examples also. So this is the process. This is the method. We have 6 steps in workload method. So in the first step, we have to classify the customers. In the first step, we have to classify the customers. In the second step, we have to calculate the time required to serve the customers. In the first step, we have to calculate number of customers in 2022 in the next year. In the second step, we have to calculate the time required to serve all these customers. At the number 3, if we have to calculate total workload we will have to serve all the customer for the next year. So total number of customer into time required to serve the customer will give you the time which you will require to serve all the customers. So 1 into 2, you will get 3. So total number of hours is equal to total number of customers into time required to serve these customers. At number 4, you have total work time available to sales people. So how much time available with the sales people? At number 5, you reduce non-selling activities. You reduce time for the non-selling activities. At 5, you will calculate time for the selling activities, and you have time for the selling activities for one person, one salesperson. At number 5, you have selling time available with one salesperson. So total time required to serve the customers divided by selling time available with the one person it will give you number of sales people. So 3 divided by 5 will give you number 6, that is total number of sales people. So we will again see the process. At number 1, we have to classify present and prospective customers according to their sales potential. So some customers may have large potential, some customer may have small potential. Take the example of the bank. If there is a ICICI bank, and in ICICI bank, some people may have deposits in saving account like 5 crore, 7 crore, 10 crore, like that. So they are large potential customers, and some people may have 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 50,000, 70,000. So they are small or medium potential customers. So you have to classify the customers as per their sales potential. You cannot, because the time taken to convince the small potential customer is less, time taken to convince the large potential customer is more. That's why we have to calculate the time taken to all the customers. That's why we have to first divide how many number of small potential customers we have and how many numbers of large potential customers we have. Then we have to decide the time required per sales call and desired call frequency for each customer class. So for the large potential customer, we have to call more. For large potential customer, it will take more time to get the sale. But from the small sales potential customer, it will require less time to serve that particular customer in particular year, say 2022. Then if we multiply 1 and 2, if we multiply number of customers into time taken per sales call into frequency of sales call, you will get total workload, total number of hours required to serve that particular customers. So calculate the workload for the entire market. You can calculate separately for the large sales potential customers, because you know how many numbers of customers are available, and you also know how much time taken for that particular uh, uh, customer. So the time taken is, you will come to know from your past experience. Last year data, you will come to know how much time it is generally taking. On the basis of experience also you can allocate. So at number 3, you should be able to calculate the number of hours required to serve all the customers. At number 4, you are deciding total workload available with one salesperson. So salesperson have to serve 8 hours in a day. At least 8 hours employee has to work, and we have 7 days. So 8 into 7 you can calculate, and we have sorry, 6 days, one day he has a holiday. 6 into 8, and we have 45 weeks. So 45 or 48 weeks. You can exclude the national holidays, you can exclude the other holidays, bank holidays, and then you can calculate how much time is available with that salesperson. So again, the total time available you cannot consider directly. You have to calculate the time available for selling activities. So divide the total work time available by different activities per salesperson. So some of the activities like traveling, which is not useful for the salesperson. That time he cannot use to serve the customer. Then he has to prepare a lot of report, he has to undergo a lot of trainings, he has to do some promotional activities. That time we have to reduce, and we at number 5 we have to calculate only selling time available with the salesperson. And if you divide total workload divided by selling time available to one person, you will get total number of salespeople required. So we'll see one by one. Classify the present and prospective customers according to sales potential. Classify present and prospective customer according to their sales potential at number 1. So first step is, you have to find out how many large potential customer we have, how many number of small potential customer we have. At number 2, we have to calculate time taken by one sales call. Time taken by one sales call, and how much call we have to make, how much frequency of calling we have to make. So here call also means, call does not only means calling by mobile or telephone. Call here means visit. decide time required per sales visit, and desired visit frequencies for each customer class. So here we require time for single visit, and here we require number of frequency of visit to serve that particular customers. So here we have to calculate uh, separately for large potential customer and time for the small potential customer independently. Then we have to multiply 1 and 2 and calculate total workload for the entire market. So we have number of customers in large, we have number of large customers, we have number of small customers, and we also know by the experience how much time it requires to serve one sales call and how much frequency of calling, frequency of visit we have to do to serve that particular customer. So if you multiply all those things, you will get total workload. So at number 4, we have to decide total work time available to salesperson. So salesperson has to work 8 hours in a day. We have 6 days and 45 to 48 weeks, whatever. You have to calculate that all the time available, total time available. At number 5, you have to reduce non-selling activity time. You will get selling activity time. So at number 6, you should be able to calculate number of salespeople required, that you will calculate uh, as total workload divided by number of selling time available with one salesperson. So this workload method or all the methods are useful for B2B sales. Most of the time it is useful for B2B sales or industrial products where there is a one firm selling to many buying companies. One firm is selling their products to other many firms. So first step we are going to see in detail. First step is classify present and prospective customers according to their sales potential. So suppose the company estimates 500 numbers of class A, that is large sales potential, and 1000 numbers class B, medium sales potential. Customers to be covered by the company's sales people in the entire nation. So we have total 1500 customers. Out of that, 500 customers are having large potential, large sales potential. So 500 are class A large customers and 1000 class B medium customers or small customers we have. So total 1500 customers we have, 500 large customers, 1000 small customers. That we have to calculate it here in numbers 1 step. Number 2 step is decide time required per sales call and desired call frequency for each customer class. Assume that both the present and prospective business customers require the same time per sales call and same call frequencies per year. The decision are as follows. So here we are making assumption that existing and new customer will require same time. So large customer, to convince the large customer based on our previous experience, we come to the conclusion that it requires 1 hour or 60 minutes to finish one visit with the large customers, and we require 36 visits in a year to serve that particular customer to get that sales. So we have one customer who is giving us large sale, and that customer required 36 visit, and each visit will be of 60 minutes, 1 hour. So in a year to serve one large customer we required 36 hours. Similarly, small or medium customers we required 12 visits, and each visit we have to spend 30 minutes. So we have to spend 6 hours in a year to serve one medium to small customers. So we calculated the time, and we also know the number of customers. So time into number of customers, we will get total number of hours required to serve that particular class or to serve all the customers. So at number 3, calculate the total workload necessary to cover the entire market. In the above example, this calculation is as follows. Calculate the workload necessary to cover the entire market. So class A we have 500 customers and 36 hours required in a year. So for 2022 we require 36 hours to serve one customer, and we have 500 such a customers. So we have we require 18,000 hours to serve class A customers, that is large customers. In 2022, we require 6 hours per year to serve medium to small customers in B class. So we require 6,000 hours. So in 2022, we require 24,000 hours. Addition of large customer plus small and medium customer, we require 24,000 hours to serve all the customers. Okay, so we are at number 3. So at number 4, we have to calculate how much time available with our sales people. So decide the total work time available per salesperson. Sales people should work 40 hours per week and we have 45 weeks per year. Then each salesperson has 1800 per year. So 1800 is total time available with our sales people. So there are selling and non-selling activities. Non-selling activities like collecting information on customers, collecting information on competitors, preparation and sending of sales report, training time, travel time, etc. So those time we have to minus. So we calculated at number 4, 18 hours are available, but out of 18 we have to reduce non-selling activities. So by experience, we come to know that 40% time is available for selling activities. So that becomes 72 hours, 720 hours. And for non-selling activities, we have 30% of the time, that is 540 hours. And for traveling, they are taking 30% time, that is 540 hours. So total out of 1800 time available with each salesperson, we have calculated that 40% time, that is 720 hours, are available for selling activities. So at number 5, divide the total work time available by different activities per salesperson. We have calculated 720 hours are available in 1 year for one salesperson. So at number 6, we calculate the total number of salespeople needed. So total we require 24,000 hours to serve all the customer, and one customer can give 720 hours for selling activities. So we require 33 people. So calculate the total number of salespeople needed. We have calculated by formula like total workload divided by selling time available per salesperson. This is done by dividing total workload to cover the entire market or all the customers by the total selling time available salesperson. So again we will summarize. First of all, we have calculated large sales customer and small or medium sales customer. So 500, we found that 500 large sales customer we have, 1000 small sales customer we have. Then we calculated time taken by large sales customer, we calculated time taken by medium or small sales customers. Then we multiplied time taken by one sales customer divided into total number of customers. So 36 into 500 and 6 hours into 1000. So we came to know that 24,000 hours are required to serve all the customers. Then we calculated selling activity time. So though 1800 hours time is available with the salesperson, but only 720 hours are required for the selling activities. So 720 we have taken to divide by 24,000. So 24,000 divided by 720, we came to know that 33 salespeople we require. So this is the one example. Similar example we will take. Example number 2. In the second organization, we have 3 types of customers: class A customer, class B customer, and class C customer. Class A, we have 150 customers, 150 accounts. Class B, medium potential customers, we have 220 accounts. Class C, we have 510 accounts. So suppose to serve class A customer, we require 52 visits. To serve class B customer we require 24 visits. And for class C customer, to serve we require 12 visits per year. Okay, in class A customer, one visit will take 60 minutes. For class B customer, we require 30 minutes per visit, and for C class customer, small potential customer, we require only 15 minutes per visit, per call. So we calculated class A customer require 52 hours per year to serve. Class B customer require 12 hours per year, and class C customer require 3 hours per year. And this calculation is for only one customers. So this time it should be multiplied by number of customers. Number of customers are 150, 220 and 510. So here we have calculated number of customers into time required to serve one customer. So we have 150 accounts and time required to serve one customer is 52 hours. So 150 into 52, 7,800. 220 into 12, 2,640, and 500 into 510 into 3 hours, 1,513. So total time required to serve all the customer in the second organization is 11,970. So we have 1920 hours available with the salespeople, but not all the time he can do the selling activities. For some time he will do non-selling activities. So 45% time is available for selling activities, 30% time available for non-selling activities, and 25% time is required for traveling. So 864 hours out of 1920 hours can be available for selling activities. So we use that 864 hours to divide 11,970. So 11,970, that is total workload of the organization in terms of number of hours, divided by total number of time available, total number of selling time available for one salesperson, will give you number of salespeople. So 11,970 divided by 864, you have 14 salespeople required for the second organization. So this was the workload method. Here the important thing is you have to calculate the workload in terms of number of hours. Similarly, we have second method. Second method is very simple, sales potential method. Sales potential method is similar to workload method. Only the thing is here we don't calculate time, we calculate revenue in terms of rupees. We calculate the volume or value or the revenue in terms of rupees. In this method, sales manager estimates the productivity of average salesperson with average performance and forecast the sales volume of the company. So we have to calculate how much revenue we have to generate in next year. Okay, how much revenue we have a target for the next year, and what is the productivity of the salesperson per year. Suppose we have 1,000 crore. Suppose ICICI Bank has a target of 1,000 crore for next year. 1,000 crore revenue they have to generate, and one person is generating 100 crore revenue in that particular year in 2022. So they will require only 10 salespeople to reach 1,000 crore. Okay, so like that we have to calculate. So there is again one formula in the sales potential method. N is equal to S divided by P into 1 plus T, where N is equal to number of sales people required, S is equal to annual sales forecast, that we said that revenue in terms of rupees. So annual sales forecast for the company in value in terms of rupees in millions or billions you can take, and P is equal to estimated productivity of average salesperson in sales in rupees million, and T is equal to estimated percentage of annual sales force turnover. So during 2022 we have some attrition rate. Some people may leave our organization, some people may switch to other companies, some employees may leave our company, and some employees may get promotion. So there is uh, there, uh, there is a gap. So to fill that gap we are adding T, that is estimated percentage of annual sales turnover, to 1, so that to fill the attrition rate. So the formula is N is equal to S divided by P into 1 plus T. Okay, this method is simple and straightforward. That is the advantage. Very simple, very small formula is there, and that if you solve, then you will get the total number of salespeople. Disadvantage is conceptually weak because only 2-3 factors are taken into consideration, not many factors are taken into consideration, and that too, it will give you probability number, it will not give you exact number. Next disadvantage is lead time needed for new salesperson to reach average productivity. So in organization where we have a lot of attrition, so they will take more time to perform. 1 year they will take to understand the process. They will not start performing from day one. So here that is not taken into consideration. So one example we will take, n is equal to s divided by p into 1 plus t. So suppose there is an insurance company. There is an insurance company and that company has a target of 5 crore revenue. Okay, 5 crore revenue we have to achieve. And our each salespeople, one salesperson on an average is generating 20 lakh sales. So in 2022, if we have to collect 5 crore revenue in insurance sector, and one person is generating 20 lakhs of insurance, so and we have 20% attrition, so 1 plus 0.20, so 1.20, so it will come 1.20. So 5 crores divided by 20 lakhs is 25, into 1 plus 0.20 is 1.20. So 25 into 1.20, we calculated 36 salespeople. So in a organization which has to generate 5 crores of revenue and each one salesperson is able to contribute 20 lakhs and attrition rate is 20%, then that organization will require 20 salespeople as per the sales potential method. We will take one more example. In this second organization, turnover rate is 10% and they have revenue target of 1 lakh, and one salesperson is generating revenue of 10,000. He can do a sales of 10,000 and we have to reach 1 lakh number. Target is 1 lakh and one salesperson is generating revenue 10,000. So 10% attrition, we will have 1.1, 1 plus 10%, that is 1 plus 10 with 10% attrition, we get that attrition number 1. So 10 plus 1 is coming 11. So 1 lakh divided by 10,000 plus 10%, so 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. So 11 sales people we will require to achieve 1 lakh target when our single person salesperson is contributing 10,000 in that particular year. So this is also very simple method. In fact, this is the simplest of all three methods. Then we'll move to the third method, incremental approach method. Incremental approach method, this method has come from the economics. This method has come from the subject economics. This method is based on the marginal analysis theory of economics. Its basic concept is that profits will increase when additional sales people are added, only if the incremental sales revenue exceeds the incremental cost. So in this method, it is said that you have to keep on adding salespeople till the time you are in the profit. So you may say that how if we are adding salespeople, how we will go into the loss? Yes, we can go into the loss by adding salespeople. Suppose every organization has particular market share, particular size, particular sales. So uh, if an organization, if they have done last year 100 crore sales, so in the next year they will not make 200 sales, 100 crore sales. That if any organization has done 100 crores of sales last year, that organization will not go directly to 200 crore sales. That organization may go to 105 crore sales or 110 crore sales. So if we last year if we have 100 salespeople and this year if we are taking 100 more salespeople, then these salespeople are many salespeople they will sit idle, they will not get the sales. So we are spending more unnecessarily by recruiting more salespeople. We are spending more on our salespeople. That becomes the cost or the expenditure for the organization, and that's how we can go into the losses. So here incremental method is useful. Incremental method has come from the economics. It says that you have to keep on adding salespeople. You have to add salespeople one by one till the time they are generating revenue. If they are generating incremental losses, then you have to stop there. In other words, this method suggests that a salesperson should only be added when additional revenue from the salesperson is more than cost of the additional salesperson. So we will see that with the example. The incremental approach is the most rigorous for calculating the sales force size because it is taking lot of factors. Incremental approach is most accurate method because it is taking lot of uh, factors taken into consideration. It compares marginal profits and marginal costs associated with the each incremental person. So when we are adding one salesperson, we are also calculating profit, marginal profit and marginal cost. That's why these methods become accurate, more accurate than other two methods. The major advantage is that it quantifies the important relationship between sales force size, sales and cost. So cost was not taken everywhere in last two methods. Here the cost is taken care of. However, this method is difficult to develop and it cannot be used for new sales forces where historical data and accurate judgments are not possible. So this method is not useful for new companies where previous year's data is not available. So you have to understand this table to understand incremental method. So there is an organization which has 30 salespeople. There is an organization called ABC organization, and they have 30 salespeople, and they have to calculate. They are calculating how many salespeople we have to add, how many more salespeople we can add. So you can see number A column. Number A column is for number of salespeople. We keep on adding salespeople, and we will see the profit contribution. So at number two, at number second two column, we have sales volume. Okay, our revenue. At number three, we have cost of goods or cost of manufacturing. Cost of manufacturing is 60% of the sales volume. So 60% of the 12 lakh is 720,000. 60% of 9 lakh 60,000 is 576. Then we have gross margin. Gross margin is our profit. That is 12 lakh minus 720,000, 7 lakh 20,000. So we get 4,80,000, but this is not the net profit. We have to subtract selling expenses from 4,80,000. So what are our selling expenses on the sales force? That is salaries, commission and travel allowances, food allowances. So salaries we have 1,20,000 per year, commission we have 72,000 per year, travel and food allowances we have 72,000 per year. If we subtract or if we minus all these three factors, all these three costs, sales cost from 4,80,000, that is gross profit, then we will get the net profit, profit contribution 2,16,000. So we have to calculate like that till we get incremental cost. So if we add one more salesperson, like salesperson number 32, still at the end we are getting 1,34,000 profit, 1,34,400 profit, incremental profit. If we add one more salesperson, salesperson number 33, then also we are getting slightly less profit, incremental profit, but we are in profit. So we are getting 69,120 rupees profit. By adding one more salesperson number 34, we are getting profit contribution of 16,864. So still we are getting plus numbers. We are getting profit. We are getting incremental profit. It is not incremental cost. Profit is more than incremental cost. But at number 35, if we appoint number 35. If you have 35 people in our organization, then our profit contribution goes into negative. That is incremental losses we have. We don't have incremental profit, we have incremental losses. That means we have to spend more on sales people than the profit we are generating from them. So we should not add salesperson number 35. We should add 4 salespeople, 31, 32, 33, 34. So 4 people can be added to remain profitable. So this is the incremental method of calculating sales force size. So hope you have understood this method. So we'll study the theory part of this. To illustrate this method, we shall consider an example of company whose total sales volume varies directly with the number of salespeople working in the market. Cost of goods sold or the cost of manufacturing remain almost constant at 60% of the sales. The company's salespersons receive a salary of 1,20,000 per year, commission 6% of the sales volume, and food and travel allowances 6,000 per month, that is 72,000. At present the company has 30 salespeople and sales manager wants to decide whether or not to add more salespeople. Sales manager estimate the increase in the sales volume, cost of goods sold, selling cost and profit contribution as shown in the table. So you have to calculate all these things: increase in the sales volume, cost of goods sold, selling cost and profit contribution, to use the formula. From the table, the sales manager can add 4 more salesperson to the existing 30 salesperson, because adding 4th salesperson, number 34th salesperson, brings an additional profit contribution of 16,860 rupees, 896 rupees. But adding of 5th salesperson, that is number 35th salesperson, produces negative profit contribution of minus 24,883. Thus the optimum size of optimum size of sales force in this example is 34. Table shows sales volume going down with the addition of more salesperson, because these figures are based on the sales response function developed by the company's marketing research department. So company's marketing research department should be strong to calculate accurate number. If a company has weak marketing research department, then this method is not useful. Then you might have to outsource these things to calculate. This method is conceptually accurate as it quantifies important relationship between sales force size, sales volume, cost and profit. So we are taking more number of factors in this method. That's why this method is more accurate than previous two methods. But sometimes it is also difficult to apply in practice, since needed historical data not available, always available, or it may not be available with the new organization. In addition, the method requires the company to develop sales response function to describe the relationship between salesperson's efforts and resulting sales volume. Not many firms have the research ability to develop sales response function. Thus, this method cannot be used for new companies where historical data and research experience are not possible. So this is the third method. So we have done today size of the Salesforce topic. So how you are going to calculate Salesforce size, how you are going to calculate number of sales people required. So we said that it is very important to calculate optimum number of sales people. It is very difficult decision. Lot of factors comes like competition, demand for the products, nature of the territory. Lot of factor influence that decision of uh, deciding optimum number of salespeople. Then we also said if we add more salespeople, then you will have more expenditure, more cost, and if you have less salespeople, then you cannot able to achieve the target. You cannot make more sales. So salespeople are very good, productive and expensive asset. That's why they should be used very careful in optimum number. So how to get the optimum number of the sales people? That decision you can take by using three methods: workload method, sales potential method, incremental method. In workload method, we said that number of hours required to serve all the customers should be calculated. Then you will get number of salespeople. In sales potential method, we said number of uh, the uh, the revenue you should calculate, the forecast or the revenue or the sales potential you should calculate in number of rupees. And if you come to know the productivity of your one salesperson, average ordinary salesperson, then you can get sales potential, you can get number of salespeople. So by calculating productivity of one salesperson and by knowing total revenue, total potential, you can easily calculate number of salespeople. In fact, sales potential method is the simplest of all three methods. Incremental method is somewhat difficult because it has lot of factors in it and it requires special research abilities. And it is also, this method has also come from the economics. So you should have knowledge of economics. So in the workload method, we have 6 steps. We calculated, we have classified the customers, we have calculated number of customers, either they are large potential customer or the small potential customer. We calculate the time required to serve the customers, then we calculate the total workload for the organization, then we calculate the time available for one salesperson, then we further calculate selling activity time available with that particular salesperson. When we divided the total workload by the selling time available with the one salesperson, we got number of salespeople required for that particular organization. We have also taken two examples. In one example, we have 1,500 customers, 500 large customers, 1,000 small customers. We have also calculated time taken for time taken to serve these customers. So, large customers are required 36 hours per year to serve, and 6 uh, hours are required to serve medium or small potential customers. So if we are spending this much time, then they will give you the sales you are required. If you are spending 36 hour, if you are serving customer with the 36 hour, then you will get the sales which you require from one particular customer. So we said 500, we have large customers, so 500 into 36 we have to do, and we have said we have 1,000 medium or small customers, so 6 hours, 6 into 1,000 we have to calculate, we have to do to calculate total workload of your organization. So we calculated 500 into 36, 1000 into 6, 18,000 plus 6,000, 24,000 total workload we have for that particular organization. Then we calculate number of the number of hours time available with one salesperson. Then we got there is 1,800 hours available every year with particular salesperson, but only he can give 720 hours for selling activities. And then we divided 24,000, the total workload of the organization, divided by number of time available for selling activities for one salesperson, and we got number of salespeople, that is 33. We also taken one more example. In that example, we have three types of customer: large, medium, small. So we have 150 large, 220 small, and 510 small customers. Then we calculated time required to serve these customers. So large customer we require 52 hours per year to serve, to get that particular type amount of sales. Then we require 12 hours to serve B class customer. We require 3 hours to serve C class customer. We calculated total time required to serve all the customer. It is 11,970. We also calculated total time available with one salesperson. We also calculated selling time available with one salesperson, and we divided 11,970, that is total workload of the organization, divided by selling time available for one salesperson. We got 14 number, that is 14 salespeople are required. Then we move to the sales potential method, which is very simple method. There is a particular formula: n is equal to s divided by p into 1 plus t. S is total target sales potential we have, total revenue we have to generate in terms of rupees, and P is productivity of one salesperson. and T is attrition rate. So if we put all these things in this formula, we will get number of sales people. We seen one example. Suppose we there is an organization whose sales target is 5 crore rupees. So sales revenue that particular organization is generating is 5 crore rupees, and one single person, one salesperson can contribute 20 lakhs of sales. So we have to achieve 5 crore sales, and one salesperson is achieving 20 lakh sales, and attrition rate is 20%. So we have to add that in one, because some people which will be leaving, we have to add that. So 1 plus 0.20 is 1.20. So 5 crore divided by 20 lakhs is 25 into 1.20 is 30 sales people we require to achieve sales of 5 crore, when one salesperson can bring 20 lakhs of sale. Then we have seen the second example. There is a sales target of 1 lakh. The company decides to achieve 1 lakh target. This is a small company, and one salesperson can contribute, can bring the sales of 10,000. So we require 10 salespeople, but we also have to add a percentage of attrition. So 10% attrition we have. So 10% attrition is 1 plus 0.1, it's 1.1. So 10 plus 1.1 is 11.1. So broadly we require 11 salespeople to serve this small organization using sales potential method. Then we have seen incremental method. Incremental method, this concept has come from the economics. Here it is said that if you keep on adding salespeople, you have to add salespeople till the time you get incremental revenue from the salespeople. If you start getting incremental cost, or there is a loss in profit contribution, then you have to stop there. So we have seen one example in this regard. So there is an organization which has 30 salespeople, and they have to decide how many more salespeople we can add. So they have 12 lakhs of sales volume, and 60% of manufacturing cost is 7 lakh 20,000. So 12 lakhs minus 7 lakh 20,000, we get a profit margin of 4 lakh 80,000. But this is gross profit margin, and we have to reduce sales expenses. So sales expenses are 1 lakh 20,000 salaries, 72,000 commission, and travel and food allowance is 72,000. So 4 lakh 80,000 minus 1 lakh 20,000, 72,000 and 72,000, we will get 2 lakh 16,000 as a profit contribution. So if we add one more sales people, still we are in profit. So if we keep on adding further, then we add the 35 salesperson, we start getting minus profit contribution, or incremental cost we will get, or there will be a loss. So we have to stop at the 34th salesperson. We have to stop after adding 4 more salespeople, because profit contribution at 34th salesperson is 1696, and if we add one more, we are going into loss of 24,883. So incremental method is based on principles of economics, that you have to keep on adding one more salespeople till the date you get incremental revenue than incremental cost. So I hope you have understood all the three methods of sales force, calculating sales force size. Anybody has any question on this topic? We have still have a time, so we will discuss the next topic, that is strategic planning. So in an organization, we have three types of planning: corporate level planning, strategic business unit level planning, it's called division or SBU, strategic business unit, and we have operational level planning, corporate level planning, divisional level planning, and product level planning. At the corporate level planning, we have to do long term planning. We have to think about the vision, we have to think about the mission, we have to think about the goal, we have to think about the objectives, we have to think about the action plans. So at corporate office, they will prepare guidelines. At the corporate office, the CEO, MD, Vice President, Chairman, the top management, Board of Directors, they will prepare guidelines for the organization, and they will further prepare plan of execution, plan of implementation, plan of action. They will hand over the top management at the corporate office who are preparing corporate strategic planning, that is goal, objective, vision, mission. They will hand over all these strategic planning to divisional manager or middle level management. At middle level management, we have SBU, strategic business unit. So if you take the example of Tata Motors, if you take the example of Tata Motors, so I will show you the Tata Motors at the corporate strategic level. So there is a Ratan Tata, there is a Cyrus Mistry, there are MD, CEO, VPs, there are general managers, there are global sales head. So a lot of people are there in the top management, board of directors are there, there is advisory team. So all these people are taking strategic decision for the organization. Then there are lot of subsidiary companies like SBU, strategic business unit. For Tata, we have Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Consultancy Services, Tata Technologies, Tata Tea, Tata Power, Tata Communication, Tata Daily Services, Tata Hotels. So these are the SBUs. So at the middle level management, we have to take care of SBUs. We have to define objectives, we have to define targets, we have to define action plans, we have to do policies for the strategic business unit. We have to decide how we can use resources effectively and efficiently so that we can generate uh, profit for our SBU. So at the middle level management is doing divisional or SBU strategic planning. So at the third level, we have operational planning or product planning. So each SBU has lot of products. So maybe TCS, in case of Tata, Tata is doing at the head office, at the corporate office, they are doing strategic planning. At the Tata Technologies, at the TCS, they are doing middle level planning, that is divisional planning or SBU strategic planning. So TCS will decide how much revenue they have to generate in the next year, how much profit they have to generate, how many employees they have to recruit, how many customers they have to get. So that planning will happen at SBU level. They also have products, like they may have lot of products. Suppose that SBU is Tata Motors. So Tata Motors have a lot of products. Tata Motor has Nexon, then Tiago, then Harrier, lot of they have Indigo, lot of products they have. So at the third level, at the product planning, at the operational level, they have to do this kind of planning. Planning is deciding now what, how, and when we are going to do. Planning is nothing but what we are going to do, how we are going to do, when we are going to do. So all these things, if you take care of, then that constitute planning part. Then strategic planning is deciding about the organization's long-term objective and strategies. So in strategic planning at the corporate level, with the top management, we are doing strategic planning, and that is deciding about the organization's long-term objective and strategies. So strategic planning is done by the top level management to guide entire organization. In a large organization, planning is done at 3 or 4 organizational level. So we have seen these three level. Corporate level planning is also called as corporate marketing. Divisional planning or SBU strategic planning is also called as strategic planning. And product planning or operational planning is also called as marketing level planning. So this we will study in the next lecture. I just introduce you with the topic. So we'll meet in the next lecture and we'll study this topic. Today we have studied uh, how to calculate number of salespeople required, how to calculate sales force size. And in the next lecture we will take strategic planning topic. So anybody has any question on today's? Uh, uh, Vipasha, I have sent you this PPT, I think. Have you received? Yes, yes, this topic is included. I have sent you this PPT. If you have not received, tell me again. I will send. Okay. Okay, then bye. Take care. We'll meet in the next session and we'll discuss strategic planning part. Okay. Okay. Bye. Take care. Bye. Welcome. Welcome.